it's almost like a separation between, your day-to-day running of the business and then the bigger picture. How are we going to partner with businesses that are going to take us to the next level?
Hi, Yolanda, great to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Great to be here.
Look, you have a really incredible experience. You worked in Uber and then Rocket Internet and Deliveroo on partnerships. So, and all of these companies are platform companies, right? So they partner with riders and they partner with restaurants, but at the same time they run B2B partnership as well. And this is where you was involved. Can you explain how that part of the equation works?
Yeah. I think in all of the businesses I've worked in, marketplace models, as you mentioned, by nature, are partnership businesses in some form or another. They're connecting riders to drivers and whatnot like that. So we generally think about the partnerships within the core of the business, which keep the business running. So it may be partnering with restaurants, partnering with delivery riders, partnering with consumers as well. And then that sort of sits in the core part of the business. And then you have what we call strategic partnerships. So thinking it's almost like a separation between, your day-to-day running of the business and then the bigger picture, seeing the weeds from the forest. How are we going to partner with businesses that are going to take us to the next level? And that's really the separation I've seen in all of the marketplace businesses I've worked in.
Right. Can you make an example?
Yeah. So, in a food delivery platform, for instance, it's a three-sided marketplace. You partner with delivery riders, you partner with restaurants, and consumers are another part of that equation as well. There's thousands of restaurants on a platform. How, that commercial relationship is structured is a form of a partnership, but a much more simpler partnership often than something like a payment partner. So working with an Alipay or a WeChat Pay, which is going to unlock a vast number of new customers and grow the business in a way that makes a step change. That's sort of how we differentiate.
And these big companies you mentioned, they are strategic partnerships, right?
Yeah, exactly.
What is interesting about you is that you worked as head of commercials, right, before. So this means that you're all about KPIs, right?
Yeah, exactly.
How do you make case that partnerships actually make sense?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think you start from the starting point of who within my platform is this partnership serving, and what do these players value? So if it is a partnership that is looking to tap into a new market segment or something like that, then you would look at that segment and what are the sort of things that they value. Is it price? Is it service? Is it a new selection of a product? And how are you better servicing that customer in the end? From that, you look at you layer that. So you're always starting with the customer, but you layer that with you as a company, your own business objectives, and then I'd say the icing on top would be feasibility. So because I often would look at partnerships and evaluation of a partnership and return on effort as well. So looking at the amount of inputs that need to go into a partnership and what is the projected deliverable in terms of internal goals, in terms of externally how it's serving customers as well.
Right. Do you have a favorite example of partnerships?
Yeah. So many examples of this. I would say probably the best example is, and I've just talked about this, but something like working with, I've covered markets within Asia Pacific and the Middle East where financial inclusion can unlock whole vast segments of customers, and strategic partnerships with payment partners can really create a step change. I'll use the example of I was working in Kenya, and where you have something like 2% credit card penetration. So running a platform business in a market like that, onboarding payment partners can ultimately change the game. So in building that case for it, we had to look at, okay, who are our consumers? What are the broad, high level market dynamics there?
Right.
And then, how will, integrating with a player like M-Pesa. M-Pesa has something like 89% penetration in a market like Kenya.
Right.
And so how does implementing with this partner, open up our business to a vast number of customers that we didn't have access to before. Yeah.
Very interesting. Yeah. Very interesting. So in our conversation, you mentioned partnership playbook at some point. How you build this partnership playbook and how you make a process of creating partnership and running them and engaging your partner.
Yeah. So what I've tended to do when building out partnerships teams is look at really on trying to group together certain kinds of partners together and create partnerships create playbooks accordingly. So because there can be quite a variety in how deals are structured. And so our approach is really to take a sector approach. So take, for instance, working with FMCG partners, how you evaluate what value is defined for them as a partner and how that layers with value for us as a platform. That is sort of how we've taken that approach. So everything from opportunity mapping. So here's where we see opportunities and where we've learned where there can be opportunity and the pros and cons to different sorts of things. So it can be commercial opportunities, it can be brand opportunities, it can be growth opportunities with these partners and mapping out those opportunities. From there, we'll look at the sort of negotiation and agreement. Sometimes we're working with global players, and it's important that we take this, because I've always worked in regional roles, is that we take a cohesive approach to the do's and don'ts of how we structure deals with global partners. Then from there, we'll look at execution, which is often a very challenging part. So everything from templates for contracts, how templates for contracts, templates for NDAs, templates for post-campaign analyses, and everything like that. That will go into a playbook, and then we'll also look at renegotiations as well, and how to learn from your post-campaign analyses and build a better deal going forward.
Often companies shake hands, right? And they're like, "Oh, let's launch a partnership tomorrow." And then there's especially in big companies, there's some bureaucracy starting to creep in and so on. And this never happened. What was your tricks to speed this up?
It's not always easy. I think it's about identification, is knowing, who are the partners that really are going to deliver value for your business, and finding, especially when dealing with, big companies, you need to find your internal advocate. That's very important. You need to find the person that is personally or professionally invested in achieving this partnership. I think being very upfront and building that relationship of trust initially. So being very clear that what is feasible from a product standpoint. I think it is often sometimes that there's an over-promising and under-delivering. And so being very clear from both sides, what is feasible is going to save everybody a lot of time and energy. And being able to know when to walk away as well, is that sometimes you think a partner is, on the surface, a really great partner, but once you sit down with them and you understand, their goals for the next 3 years, or that they're actually going through a big compliance, overhaul at the moment, or something, is knowing that, okay, this actually isn't the right time for us, and that we should re-engage, next quarter, next year, or something like that. That can also save a lot of time as well.
Brilliant.